Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. So day 10 will take us around the 30th of May. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run around a couple of weeks. Have a look at the CFS-V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. And that's going to take us well on into June, of course. So I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just say about the first video today was our 7 a.m. forecast. It's a wild old day out there today. Wind and rain sweeping the country. And we look at it in detail in our 7 a.m. forecast. Also, European Outlook has been released today as well as on a Thursday, having a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days in detail across Europe. Right, so let's get on with it. We're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. Now, look at this. Just turn off webcam. We've got a disturbance area here in the tropical Atlantic already. This is ahead of the actual start of the 2021 tropical storm / hurricane season. The season doesn't officially get underway until the 1st of June and ends on the 30th of November. But you can get disturbances outside of these, outside the defined period, of course. So sometimes you get tropical disturbances before the season begins. Sometimes you can get them after the season ends in December. I think it has happened occasionally in January. Anyway, here we go. We've got this orange X just here. This is from National Hurricane Center. You'll be seeing a lot of this in the next few weeks and months. Got this orange X just here, a disturbance area. That's disturbance 1. It's got a 50% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours and an 80% chance, very high chance, of tropical cyclone formation in the next 5 days. National Hurricane Center are saying a non-tropical low-pressure system has developed in a broad area of cloudiness and thunderstorms about 600 miles east-southeast of Bermuda. The low is expected to develop gale force winds later today while it moves generally northwards. The low is forecast to move west-southwestwards over warmer waters on Friday tomorrow and will likely become a short-lived subtropical cyclone near and to the northeast of Bermuda on Friday. The system is expected to move toward the north and northeast into a more hostile environment by late Sunday and into Monday. And then it goes on to give, we get more information about this from High Seas and Noaa and so on. So we're off and running with this 2021 Atlantic tropical storm / hurricane season. We are outside of the official beginning of this hurricane season, of course, and this a heads up that we're going to be in for another big season. Because last year we had a hyperactive season, a very big season that we had last year, particularly for numbers. I think it's record-breaking season for the number of tropical storms and hurricanes. It wasn't record-breaking for ACE, accumulated cyclone energy, but nevertheless we did come away with a hyperactive season last year. We can see this disturbance just here. This is latest info from earthnullschool.net. So if we zoom in, we can see that within the tropical Atlantic or subtropical Atlantic, we have got this area just here, this circulation just there. That is what's likely to become a tropical storm or a subtropical storm by tomorrow. Very, very, very early on in the season, of course. This is the 2021 Atlantic Hurricane Season page from Wikipedia. I'll link this in the description. Most of the pre-season forecasts are going for an above average season. It goes through those just there. So most of the predictions are for an above average season this year. And I think that those predictions have been increased, over the past month or two. These are the names that we've got for this season, so I'll just go through those quickly. We've got Anna, we've got Bill, we've got Claudette, we've got Danny, Elsa, Fred, Grace, Heinrich, I think that would be, rather than Henry, I think that's Heinrich, Ida, Julian, Kate, Larry, Mindy, Nicholas, Odette, Peter, Rose, Sam, Teresa, Victor, and Wanda. those are our names for this season that have been issued, you know, by the World Meteorological Organization. So yeah, we'll wait and see how far we get within that list. We may get Anna, like, tomorrow appearing. So that one might be used even outside the start of this season. Of course, we'll wait and see how far we get with these names. If we are in for a bigger season, we'll probably get quite a long way into into the list there of names. We've got a warm tropical Atlantic, so this is the latest sea surface temperature anomaly chart from Noaa. If we go in close here, you can see that yeah, we've got very warm sea surface temperature anomalies here between, like, the Azores and the Canary Islands, and then they expand out down into the subtropical Atlantic through there, and then on towards the tropical Atlantic, Caribbean, and into the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico. Anyway, it's a little bit cooler close to the coast of the Gulf of Mexico there, but that's shallow water and will increase and get warmer through the coming months. Down in the depths of the tropical Atlantic through here, not quite as warm through there, but nevertheless, it's a little bit above average in most areas. So I think the Atlantic looks pretty well primed for quite a big season here. So I don't see any reason from an Atlantic perspective why this shouldn't be a big season. Of course, we've also got, like, a decaying La Nina, so we're at ENSO neutral. No sign of El Nino. El Nino does have a dampening effect on Atlantic activity, of course, hurricane, tropical storm activity. There's no sign of an El Nino developing, so I think we're either going to be at ENSO neutral for the rest of the year, or possibly we will go into a weak La Nina again later on in the summer. If we do see La Nina beginning to get going again later on in the summer, then that could increase things further, because active hurricane seasons do tend to coincide with La Nina, such as we had last year. So it all looks pretty well set up to me, this to be a big season, and this early development is probably telling us that we're going to be in for it again for like another year. Going to be in for another pretty big season. So all eyes will be on the tropical Atlantic, of course, in the next few days, weeks, and months. This does form part of our winter updates as well. So Atlantic hurricane activity always is quite an important feature within the winter updates. So for those of you that aren't sure, you know, whether there's that much impact from this on our weather, just watch your space. You'll hear a lot about tropical storm and hurricane activity when we start doing winter updates from September. And talking of winter updates, by the way, we will be releasing the NAO forecast for winter 2021-22 on Sunday the 6th of June. So that's getting quite close now. And for channel members, you'll be able to get an early advanced look at that from Tuesday the 1st of June. So channel members will get to see about a couple of days earlier, or a few days earlier. So if you would like an advanced look at the NAO forecast for winter 2021-2022, then all you need to do is become a channel member, and you'll get to see about a few days early. But it will go on its general release across YouTube and across the net on Sunday the 6th of June. It'll be premiere. I think we'll have a premiere probably around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if that's okay with everyone, around on Sunday the 6th of June. And yeah, exciting times to come. Right, so that's a little bit of a different start to this one, wasn't it? Now, shall I put the webcam back up for a moment? Let's put the webcam back up. There we go. So that's a bit of a different start, wasn't it, everybody, to this one? You wasn't expecting that we'd start on that, was you? Talking about hurricane activity and like the NAO forecast, winter 21-22. Let's get back to business. This is the latest radar picture from the Weather Outlook. So it's a wild old day. As I said at the start of the video, wet weather is sweeping in across the country. Look at all this heavy rain we've got piling in from of the Atlantic, thoroughly wet across northern England and down into the Midlands, also through Wales into Northern Ireland as well. The rain, as expected, is a little bit patchier in this southeast corner and has not yet arrived across large parts of Scotland, although this wet weather is heading northwards and eastwards. But yeah, it's a wild old day out there today. Very windy. These are our latest wind gusts from XC Weather. So look at this. We've had a gust of 63 miles per hour just there at Roaches Point in Ireland. So we was expecting like 50, 60 mile an hour gusts around the western, southwestern coast of England, Wales and Ireland. And those gusts are indeed pushing in. So elsewhere, like in the southwest, we're seeing gusts up to around 50 miles per hour across South Wales. Plymouth seeing a gust of 43, 55 miles per hour, and so on. Not as windy further north and eastward, but winds will be strengthening through the course of this afternoon. And just generally going to be a wild old afternoon of it, especially so the time of year. So with winds going up to 50, 60 miles an hour, trees in full leaf, that's enough to bring down branches and probably bring down a few trees, actually, down in the southwest. So watch out if you're out and about in the southwest. Weather warnings have been issued by the UK Met for the far southwest. Have a look at those at the beginning of our 7 a.m. Forecast. Not only is it wet and windy, it's also abysmally cool as well for the 20th of May. Now, we have managed to reach 14, 15 degrees in the extreme east before this cloud rain arrives. So Norwich has got up to 14 degrees. That's about best yet. I think those temperatures will slide away through the rest of the afternoon. More generally, Cranfield at 11, Nottingham at 11, Gloucester at 12, Dunk as well at 9 degrees. Absolutely terrible, really, the time of year at midday. On the 20th of May, 12 degrees at Liverpool, Lake Verwich, just 8 degrees, Capel just 10 degrees, even cold at Spad Adam, only 8 degrees there, Drumalbin at 8 degrees, Belfast at 9, Tulloch Bridge at 11, you know, straight to getting to a teens Celsius across most parts of the country, and some areas paid back into double digits with gale force winds and heavy rain. It's pretty grim out there. So this is very, very poor weather for this time of the year. You know, if it was like November or March, then probably wouldn't be anything particularly out of the ordinary. But for like the end of May or late May, it's not, to say the least, it's not great. So yeah, if you're off out and about, especially in that southwest corner, do take care because it is wild out there today. Right, let's turn off the webcam then, and we're going to have a look at temperature. Temperature, of course, always cool weather. It's just a continuation of what has been a cold month and a cold spring. The CET currently standing at 9.6. It's an anomaly of 1 degree below average, provisional to yesterday. It follows on from our coldest April for 35 years. That's the coldest April century temperature since 1986. We also had a rather cooler than average January as well, quite a cold January at 3.1. February and March were milder, although February contained the coldest week of the winter, but then it turned exceptionally mild in the second half of February. But generally, this is a much cooler year. I'm sure you'll all agree about that. This is a much, much cooler year than we've had for quite some time. I'm already thinking this is probably going to be our coldest year since maybe 2013. We'll have to see. Of course, we might get a very warm second half to the year. But definitely, this year is starting the first half of it on a much cooler note. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature out in Aberdeen today. So, of course, we're below average at the moment. Temperature's actually going to get colder over the weekend, can you believe it? So it's already pretty grim with the temperature at the moment below average, but they're going to drop even more into the weekend and the early part of next week. Much of next week takes on bottom of the chart, of course. Much of next week shaping up to have below average temperature. Still a recovery in temperature for the very end of May and into the first week of June. Just here we see the upper air temperatures lifting up, so we'll become a little bit warmer, I think, as we get into the last days of the month and into the beginning of June. But nothing particularly noteworthy in terms of warm or hot weather. we're just going to see a recovery, I think, in the temperature. And probably, hopefully anyway, we might get back towards average. Also a bit of a drying trend as well, so there's lots of rain, of course, at the moment. Loads of wind and rain to come into the weekend through to the open of next week as well. But definitely, like the very last days of May and into the first week of June, we have got a drying trend there. We do see drying trend, not completely dry. There will be showers around, but I think we definitely lose these very heavy bouts of rain and shift to something a little bit drier, a little bit a little bit drier and warmer as we get through into the first week of June. Having said that, temperature anomalies from the 20th to 28th of May are going to be significantly below average, or for not just the UK, but for most parts of Europe again. We've been saying this for weeks now, from Ireland, Portugal and far west over towards like Russia in the east. It's going to be a cooler than average week to come. The precipitation anomaly from the 20th to 28th of May is also looking wetter than average UK and Ireland, so on and on it goes. Another pretty cool and wet week ahead. Visit the latest wind flow map from earthnorthschool.net for us, and this is a big area of low pressure that we've got sitting just off the coast of Ireland, bringing the strong to gale force westerly winds up the Irish Sea and around these Atlantic and Channel coasts. So yeah, it's a proper old battery. This is a real sort of late spring, early summer storm. You see, it's quite light at the moment across Scotland, but these strong winds will be pushing northwards and eastwards through the course of the day. But the strongest winds will remain around these western and southern coasts, of course. Bit of a dartboard low, that. Right, I'm going to go through generic charts then, so I'll put webcam back on. There we go. So here we go. It's a UK Met for Sunday. It's midnight on Sunday. So Sunday is slightly quiet day. Back to below there over Denmark. That's currently giving us wet windy weather. That shifts over Denmark by Sunday. Then Saturday we'll get this slightly transient ridge. It's only ahead of the next low that's coming in off the Atlantic, and so that low will bring lots of wind and rain across the country through Sunday. This is midnight Monday. Low pressure back in over top of the country again. Another wet, cool day into about next week. That low pressure shifts over into the North Sea, pulls the wind in from the north, so cool to cold and showery through the early part of next week. Then start to get this ridge building out to westward of the mid-Atlantic ridge. We'll begin to try and move in and settle things down through the middle of next week, but we'll keep wind in from the north up to Wednesday. So for northern east areas, we'll keep the showers going, and it'll still be very chilly with that northerly wind. That's as far as we get with the UK Met. This is how the GFS midnight run was running. Again, low pressure bearing down on us at midnight on Sunday. Could give a soaking through Sunday into the early part of next week, cool and showery. That low then moves over to Scandinavia. Through the middle of next week, you get a ridge of high pressure building out to our north and west. Winds are in from the north, so we'll be cool to cold and showery through the middle part of next week. And then that high pressure increasingly building through the north and the west of Europe. So gradually shifting towards something a little bit drier through the second half of next week. But there will still be showers around. And of course, this is a cool ridge in its origins with a northerly flow as it's sort of begun. So temperatures will be quite cool, and particularly notable, I would have thought, at night, actually. Up to day 10, which gets us to Sunday, the 30th of May, the high pressure is just to our west, still trying to send this ridge in, but it could still be quite showery in southern, southeastern parts of the country. Many more extended range, the GFS midnight run today is pulling that high pressure away from us again, back into mid-Atlantic, and starting to move low pressure back in from the north. So any sort of higher pressure is quite short-lived on this GFS run, and low pressure is quickly back in business from the north and west, turning us cool and unsettled again, actually, through the first week of June. Not great, that one. Right, so let's see what GFS 6Z is showing. If you enjoyed the video, by the way, please can you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. You won't see future weather content if you do that. And tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. We're getting very close to 11,100 subscribers. Right, this is GFS 6Z. In comes the low pressure on Sunday. That's going to bring a bout of heavy rain to many of us on Sunday. Early next week, it's cool, wet, showery, winds in from the north, low pressure close to us. It's not going to be a great start to next week. Through the middle of next week, we get this mid-Atlantic ridge building northwards. Winds are still in from the north, bringing showers to eastern areas, but it will be starting to turn a little bit drier through the second half of next week with slightly more Atlantic influence. not particularly warm. Temperatures might lift up by a few degrees. There's more sunshine around, but there's no source of particularly warm air with this from the south. We move up towards day 10, which gets into Bank Holiday weekend, of course, to Sunday the 30th of May. Now, this is a little bit drier and warmer, especially the more southern areas. The high pressure is still centered to our west, so the flow's coming off the Atlantic, which isn't going to be a particularly warm flow, but, you know, it's a bit better. I think that probably gets temperatures at least into the upper teens Celsius down in the south. So it should feel a little bit more like the time of the year. But again, similar to the GFS midnight run, the 6 air then very quick starts to pull that high pressure back out into the Atlantic. So here we go again. Jet stream begins to dig southwards. Jet stream's a black line, of course. Jet stream starts to dig southwards and brings low pressure in with it. Actually, the 6 air gets us into a northerly wind again there by the 2nd of June, turning cool and showery. And then by the end of it, this gets us to Saturday the 5th of June as far as we go. By then, we begin to generate low pressure, so turning cold and wet potentially there by the end of the GFS 6 air. Probably won't verify, but it is the idea today, anyway, within the GFS extended, that any high pressure at the end of May into the start of June is likely to be quite short-lived. GEM looks like that again. Low pressure is bearing in from the Atlantic on Sunday, bringing further bouts of wind and rain. Cool and showery early next week. Then in comes this ridge from the west. It's a cool ridge, but it will start settling things down a little bit through the second half of next week. Heading up towards day 10, we have a high pressure centre just to our southwest from a ridge into the UK, so should be a little bit better, should be a little bit drier, a little bit warmer, a little bit sunnier. Not a heat wave by any means, but things just a little bit more like the time of the year. However, we've got plenty of low pressure in the Atlantic. I have a feeling if we could go any further with the GEM, we'd probably see the high pressure pulling away from us and allowing this low to move in. And we've got the ECM again. Low pressure is in the ascendancy on Sunday into Monday, bringing further bouts of wind and rain as well. Early next week, cold, showery, northerly winds, particularly showery in the east. The mid-Atlantic ridge is trying to move in and settle us down, but is struggling to do so. And we have to wait until around day 10 to find ourselves under an area of high pressure. Now, this is a slightly stronger ridge, I think, at day 10 than like the GFS and the GEM is showing. So we have actually got an area of high pressure over. So it should bring mostly dry weather, and it might last a little bit longer before it pulls away from us. It might do. But again, you know, it is, the idea is definitely there, but like any ridge is going to be quite short-lived, I think. So this is how the precipitation type forecast looks based on that ECM run from spreadshow.com. This is all the wind and rain sweeping in from the Atlantic today. And we'll have lots of rain to come again tomorrow as well, particularly focused on England and Wales, even kind of from some snow over the Scottish mountains tomorrow, and into the weekend. So it's a little bit drier on Saturday, and on Sunday, look at this, next bout of rain sweeping in off the Atlantic. Showery and cool conditions with our northerly winds carry on into the early part of next week as well. Lots of showers still there for east hours, even in the second half of next week, so it really is struggling to settle things properly. That's Friday next week, for example, where we've still got showers focused on England and Wales, and more general rain into the southwest as well. We do eventually start to get dry, but it is a painfully slow process. So most of next week is actually quite showery, particularly for more eastern parts of the country. We eventually, by day 10, have turned drier, although Ireland still has some shower rain even then. But yeah, it's not a slow process to turn things drier, and even if we do get some high pressure going, it definitely looks like it could be quite short-lived. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble today board day 10. Gets us to the 30th of May. 17 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure centered just to our west and southwest. That will be drier and a little bit warmer as well, but jet stream is being pushed northwards, so that should be turning a little bit drier and warmer by day 10. 11, including the operational run, have the high pressure more towards the northwest, which is trying to settle things down, but still allows showers like for more southern areas anyway. 10 just here have the high pressure like a northern blocking type feature, even further north. So that's bringing in an easterly wind and probably threatens more showers for southern areas. 7 just here, again high pressure to the north, winds in from the east, a little bit of lower pressure though to the south. And 6 just here. This is probably the driest option. This has high pressure more or less over top of the country, which should be completely dry. So the devil is in the detail as to where that high pressure is sitting exactly as to whether we settle things down next week. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This will get us to the 4th of June. 21 members of the ECM ensembles have a Scandinavian high, bringing in or trying to bring in an easy wind, but there is lower pressure to our west, and so actually that might be starting to turn more unsettled. 17 just here have quite deep low pressure to our north, and probably are bringing in like a westerly flow and turning things more unsettled. The high pressure is pulling away from us. That's similar to what the GFS Midnight and 6 set is doing through the first week of June. And then 13, keep the high pressure clinging on just to over and just to our west. That's probably the driest option, but even that one could start to allow some influence in from the northwest. CFSV2, finally, and then we're done. So these are 500 millibar heights break down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 20th, 26th of May. Coming week, very unsettled and cool. Low pressure over to east country income. Those east to northeasterly winds. So it's going to be cold and wetter week ahead. Big change in week 2 is going to be the 27th of May, 2nd of June. High pressure then is away to our northwest around the ridge. We're bringing in winds from a north-northeasterly direction. So quite cool, but turning drier. Week 3 looks good. If you're waiting for some warm, sunny, dry weather, this is the 3rd to the 9th of June. There's not much sign of this within the shorter range charts, I have to say. But if the CFS is right with this, it's got high pressure right over top of the country and a little bit to our east, which should pull in like an east or maybe even southeast wind that could turn very warm and sunny there. But again, there's not much sign of that within like the GFS and the ECM and the GM and all those sort of models. And then week 4 is the 10th to the 16th of June with above average heights, high pressure to our east and south, also a little bit towards the northwest. So that's probably still going to be quite warm, bringing up the wind from the south. It may also be starting to allow some lower pressure in from the Atlantic and just a general decline of that area of high pressure. But for a while, it might bring some dry and warm weather. So the CFS is still there with the idea of something a bit drier and potentially warmer through the early part of June. I should have to say the other model output, though, today is wobbling on that. And suggesting like a very quick return to cooler, wetter weather through the first week of June. So we shall wait and see. But based on what's happened so far this year, that's probably going to be the form horse, I suppose. But any high pressure and warmer, dry weather at the end of May will be really short-lived. Right, if you enjoyed the video, then please can you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. You're going to be able to see future weather content if you give us a sub. And who won't want to see future weather content from GavsWeatherVids? And don't forget to tell your friends, everybody else who subscribe as well. I think we've got to put on around 20 to 25 subscribers now to get to 11.1k. So, yeah, give us a sub. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing this for GavsWeatherVids. Right, we're done with today's videos. Tomorrow, we're going to be back with our 7 a.m. forecast. We'll have JMA Friday, 10 to 14 dayer. And also, our latest bank holiday update is penciled in for tomorrow as well. For this one, rather extended one, this, but it was quite interesting at the start, wasn't it, going through the hurricane stuff and whatnot. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that opening to video. For this one, though, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.